We're live. Welcome back to another cup of jaw time with Realtor Jeet. And today is a really special day because we I am part of this amazing community, and I'm super excited to introduce you our next guest. And just before I start, I want to apologize for coming on a little bit late. We had technical issues with StreamYard. The links were on. And we are also streaming on YouTube. So if you are on YouTube, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel so that you could get more valuable information that we can provide to you here at Jaw Time with Realtor Jeet. Now, inspired by the Go Giver, the leader of the Faces of, and you can go to thefacesof.com. He's also a certified go-giver speaker and coach. Brian Weiss, a dear friend, amazing human being, he has a goal to create a community the go-giver way in your local towns. So the go-giver, I'm going to introduce Brian right now, bring him up here. We are part of this amazing book that our dear friend Bob Berg and John David Mann had written a few years ago. It sold over a million copies, and it's in over 30 languages. And inspired by this book, Brian created with one of his friends and partners, was it Brian? The Faces of. And I'm super excited about this because I know, like, meeting people who live the lifestyle of the go-giver is just absolutely beautiful. And I'm super grateful to be your friend, Brian, and to be part of your universe. Welcome to Jaw Time. And you're on mute, Brian. That's the slogan.
Harjeet, yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here anytime there's an opportunity to just kind of talk out loud about the principles in this book, right?
Yes.
That's what you and I have done over and over, and I'm excited to do it here, in front of your audience and hopefully inspire people to at least consider reading the book if they've not read it. Like you said, it's in over 30 languages now. It's this go-giver movement is all over the world, and this is real life stuff. This is one of life's secrets, in my estimation. So I appreciate you letting me join you.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's my pleasure, Brian. And thank you for coming on and sharing this, because it's so important to really share and show that the world really does live like this. There are people in the world that live the go-giver lifestyle, live the go-giver way. And to me, it is a lifestyle. We got to personally, I know you did as well, got to personally meet Bob Berg, and you could see, like, you could just feel the energy and actually witness this book in real time, in real life, which is so amazing. Which here's Bob saying hi all. Looking forward to a fantastic discussion. And one of our mutual friends, Jeff West, two of my favorite people in one place. Yes, Jeff, you're our favorite person too. So what was it, Brian? Oh, you're mute again.
Sure, what's going on there? I think we should be good, right?
Okay. So what was it that inspired you the most out of the Go-Giver?
So more than the platform we have, the Faces of, I've read this book for the first time probably 10 plus years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I am a student of the principles in the book. It's amazing to me, and from real life experience, what happens when we shift our focus from getting to giving, which is the big principle of the book, right? Like when our mindset is changed in that way, we're not showing up in the world trying to figure out what we can take from the world, but we're approaching the world we occupy from a place of contribution and how we can add value to it, how we can make it bigger. Everything about that world changes, Harjeet, the way that we're received, the way that we're greeted by people that are in it, because at this point, when we make that switch and we begin to behave in that way, we're valuable to that world. We add value to it. And so that world wants us to be in it, wants us to maintain a role in, and occupy space in it. And so we are surrounded by more happiness. The people we engage with are happy to see us. I mean, it's the energy that you and I share when we hop and we have a chance to talk. It's always high energy. It's always super positive. We're always exploring what can we do to serve and help one another. And I feel blessed, Harjeet, because that's my world everywhere I go.
It
Every
is.
direction I turn, I am greeted by people, generally speaking, that are happy to see me. And
Mhm.
it's been the result of me not worrying about me and what I can get from it, but truly and sincerely, how can I make this world that I'm a part of a better place because I'm in it? And how can I help those that are a part of it with me? Like, this is life, Harjeet. This is our journey. It's who we occupy that journey with and how we treat each other. And so, and the faces of is really just a continuation of those principles in real life, like just basically an example. They're being modeled in communities all over the country, and it's pretty unbelievable what our partners are saying is happening to them where they live. And so, there's not one part of the book. I think the 5 laws that are laid out as you finish reading the book are an
Mhm.
excellent sort of framework to go occupy, how you present, how you show up in the world. But I mean, the entire book's fantastic.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just putting up the faces of, because this is absolutely, you're so, that's so true that you, wherever you go, you're being greeted with the best energy you can possibly attract, because that's what you embody. You embody this world. You embody this, like you said, this secret to life that is not really a secret.
No, it just feels like it, because I don't think more people. I guess based on observation, everybody doesn't live this way.
Yeah.
But if you're in a world right now that you don't feel like responds to you the way you want, I honestly, my advice would be is to take reflection on how you're presenting and showing up in it. I, a lot of ways, life is a mirror of who we are and the energy we carry and how we present ourselves to the world. And so, like you said, it's a magnet. You're going to draw to you basically who you are. And so go be that person you want others to see in you, and you want to, you would like to ideally be. And you'll just find that the world has a way of manifesting itself into some pretty remarkable stuff. It's pretty awesome.
It is. It really is. It was another magnet right here, another great go-giver saying two great people on a call. And this is what we are surrounded by, not just within our community, the Go-Giver Success Alliance, which this is where we actually got to meet.
Yes.
And it's also the community that you have created with your partner. And forgive me, please, what is your partner's name again?
Brad Abernathy.
Brad, so you and Brad created this together, and Brad is also a real estate agent.
Yes.
So this was originally created as, how can I, the real estate agent, give value to the community?
Yeah. I mean, right straight from the book. How do I add value at scale
Mhm.
to my audience, right? And the word audience would be different depending on what you do professionally, and or maybe not even just based on who you are. But as a community-based business, like a realtor or an independent insurance agent, maybe even an elementary school that has an interest in having a stronger relationship with their community, how can I do something that positively touches everybody in my community? How can I become someone that is able to offer value at scale and touch 20, 30, 40, 50,000 people that maybe live in the community that you occupy? And that was the premise or the question that we tried to answer using the 5 laws from the book as the framework with which we would kind of go forward and seek the answers to those questions.
That's so beautiful. So that's actually, you used it as your guide and lived the lifestyle of it and created the faces of. Now, can we go a little bit over what faces of is for anyone who doesn't know what that is? Because I, of course, know what it is, and the people in our community do.
Yes, of course. So we are effectively, we built a platform. It's on WordPress. It starts as a website. But
Mhm.
what we're doing is celebrating in communities all over the country. We have almost 200 projects going on now. But I live in Beaufort, Georgia. So I am doing the Faces of Beaufort. And what that project is a celebration of the many men and women that live in Beaufort, Georgia, that contribute positively to making my community such a fantastic place to live. They're like, when you think about the idea of community and the word community, it means to commune. It means to understand one another, to spend time together, to be interested in one another. And so what I have explained to the community of Beaufort is this project for me is a chance for me to get to know my neighbors and understand how I can be valuable in my community where I live. And the more people I get to know and I learn what they do and who they are, the more I will understand how I can add my own unique value to that group of people. But then while I'm interviewing these people and I'm putting their story with a nice high res image on this website, The Faces of Beaufort, twice a week on social media, I use those stories as content and I share them out in the local market on Facebook, on Instagram, on the Nextdoor app, and I introduce these people to their neighbors here in Beaufort. And so what happens is once you've been highlighted as the Faces of Beaufort, and I do that every Monday morning and every Friday. Now you go to the grocery store, you go out to eat, and people will come up and start talking to you because they read about you as one of the positive people in our community. And so two people that were otherwise strangers prior are now having a conversation and getting to know each other because of the impact the project has had locally. And so I'm literally playing a role in creating closer community here by introducing the positive people that live here to each other. While through the project, I've been given permission to get to know and be known by virtually everybody in my community. And Harjeet, we have a small community. It's about 17,000 people. I get over 5,000 people every month on this website reading about their neighbors. And so what happens is now I'm becoming a little bit of a celebrity in my local community because of the way I'm making people feel and because of the reputation of the project and how my community feels about our community. And they're simply reminded of the importance of community and how lucky we are to live in Beaufort by this project. But this is the value. It makes them feel good each time they see someone recognized. And so this is my effort, and this is how I'm adding value to people I don't know. I've never met them, but twice a week they're getting a little value nugget from me, helping them feel good about where they live and feel prideful about being in Beaufort. And over time, as they continually see me doing that, I become someone they feel like they can trust because I'm on them all the time. And so if you're a realtor or an insurance agent, this is a surefire way to go build a significant business, not like to go find another transaction. If you become the unofficial mayor of your community in this way, where you're saying this has nothing to do with me, this is everything to do with an aspiration to really build closer community where I live. And if you're successful doing that, I don't care what you do for a living, you are going to be very successful in a professional way. And Brad, so he started the first ever project in October 2015. So it's been a few years, but his production has more than tripled. I mean, he's gone from $26 million in production in 2015, which is a great year for a realtor. And he's up in Gainesville, Georgia, which is about 40,000 people in population. He and a small team did over $60 million last year. And everybody knows Brad Abernathy, literally everybody.
Yeah.
And I think this is a position that a lot of community-based businesses are trying to figure out how to gain, right? How do I grow my own audience? No different in some ways with what you're doing with a podcast, right? You're creating content that's valuable to your audience with the hope that that audience gets bigger and it gives you a louder voice. And so we've just come up with a unique way, and with the foundation of the whole conversation being around this idea of community. How do we drive community in a way that people get emotionally connected to it, and so that we can create closer community, we can bring people together and do something really meaningful. And I believe at 2,000 partners nationwide, which is what we're trying to get to, this brand will represent something that has made really positive change. But along the way, I just, it's one partner at a time. We're doing this exclusive with one person in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, or in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, right? And so I've got to go find that right person that would want to partner with us and be a part of this journey. But it's the most rewarding thing I've ever done, Harjeet. Like, I literally put my Go Giver t-shirt on every day and go sing from the hills about how important this message is and these principles are. And then I show people how I can help them become that person.
That person.
It's awesome.
That's amazing. Well, you just had an idea right there. Jeff said the faces of is one of the best concepts I've seen. And Jeff, Brian just gave an amazing idea as well. Along with these cups, we need t-shirts. And that's what we do. We walk around with this energy, and what you're doing is it really is it's the best concept that when you spoke about, I know the first time when we got together and we were talking about this, and I said, wow, I have something kind of similar with next door where I showcase the best of Shirley, and that's like nature and everything. And
Yeah.
what you're doing is you're bringing the best in people. You're showing off the best people in the community and the people who are making a difference and change. And they're also becoming the celebrity of the town. And now they feel like, oh, this is nice. I'm being acknowledged. And be everyone loves to know that what they are doing is making a difference. And that's what pushes them or pulls them to do the next thing in a bigger and better way as well.
Yeah,
Or
and it's not a who's who project, Harjeet. You don't have to be the mayor. You don't have to
yep,
be a top 40 under 40.
yep,
If you just have a reputation, maybe you volunteer at a nonprofit, and only that nonprofit community really knows what you're about, but you move mountains within that nonprofit. Like
yeah,
I don't, and I get nominations from my website now. So people in Buford that are following along and watching the project, they can nominate someone else. And
yes,
I don't care why they've nominated them. If the individual they've nominated makes them feel good because of how they live their life, um, it doesn't. You don't have to have some glaring resume of high achievement, right? Like,
yeah,
and then one of the things that they say in the book, The Go Giver, like we all have something to give simply for being here. We're good enough who we are. We can offer a listening ear. We can, we can just offer a warm smile as we're walking through the grocery store. And so it's important to me, these projects, it's like we're not going to try to find the most influential people in the community. We want to get to know and be known by everybody. And we want to recognize anybody and everybody that is positive, that lives these principles, that tries to contribute positively to the world they're in. And it's just crazy, Harjeet, the energy that it can create.
it's
Like
beautiful.
you can literally see a community of people interested in and kind of wanting to figure out how to become a stronger community, and that's pretty awesome.
That is awesome. It's and I love the fact that I love what you just said about you're not looking for like it comes down to the most human level possible that everyone has a shining light inside of them, and it takes one person to light switch that light out. And you're doing that with Brad and so many other go-givers that are connected with the website, the faces of, and I'm surely going to be doing this soon as well. And also, Bob and Kathy had, here it is, the faces of the Go Giver community. I was looking for the banner, and that's my own comment. The faces of, and you could click on that on the link on Facebook in the comment section. But here it is, the faces of the Go Giver community, and you can see all the people here and see what Brad is talking. Brian, see what Brian is talking about with the faces of the Go Giver community.
So a perfect example, right? So we're
Yeah.
using the same platform, but in this
Mhm.
case, the community is different. It's not Buford, Georgia. It's a collection of like-minded people that are all interested in kind of pursuing the book, right? In
Yeah.
the principles from the book. And so so proud that our platform is being used to highlight other go-givers. Like to me, it's just like this is so awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a great example of how a community can be defined in so many ways. And so we're still exploring exactly how all we can use this little idea that we've created for good. And that would be another example.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's doing a great. I know our friend Grant Muller, he is absolutely like he raves about the faces of, and he was telling me, he's like, you gotta get on it now. Get on it now. And
Grant's
you're
fantastic.
a high producing agent, and also as a coach. So like a high productive coach. He will be on in June. So
Oh,
he's
nice.
coming out. Yeah, he's coming out with his next book, and I'm super excited for that. So shout out to Grant Muller. And also, I know Peg. Peg's been working on it as well. She's also a go-giver. And this is the power in it, that people who want to create value in other people's lives are attracted to the faces of, because it's actually building a community within a community. Because it's like I could go down 4 blocks down my house, and I may not know all the neighbors 4 blocks down my house. And now with Faces of, just, you know, next door is great, everybody's on there, but what you do see is, you see a mixture of everything. Here you're seeing a highlight of one person every single week, and that attracts more and more, "Oh, I wanna how can I do good for this community?" And I think that's the best thing that it's building.
Yeah, without a doubt, it's the reason that we're growing, right? It's not a product, Hardeep.
Mhm,
It truly is. Like you are a good fit for us if you aspire to help, create change, to help to bring a community of people together. If you understand the benefits of sitting in the middle of that community, as
mhm,
that feeling and the essence of community where you live is strengthened. Um, yeah, this is real life stuff, right? And it's not just so you get the tangible benefit in time of a more productive business because more people know who you are, and so you're doing more transactions. But like we talked about in the very beginning, it's so much more than that. You A year or two after doing one of these projects with us, when you go out to lunch or you go into your community, you will be greeted virtually everywhere you go by people that think of you in a high regard, right? And so
yep, respect. Yep.
yeah, you're greeted with smiles and hugs, and so your life becomes more joyful because you're around joy more. So you run at a higher, you kind of you show up in the world differently because you're just happier, so you become more productive, which makes you feel even more happy, right? And so
Mhm,
it has this way of building up the individual through to living life this way. Like I could spend all day, Harjeet, breaking talking about these principles and kind of how they contribute to becoming a high producing and maybe more important, happy person. Because I think happiness is something that feels like a bit of a mystery right now in a lot of areas of life.
mhm,
And so um, I want to contribute in those ways too. Like I really want people, I want to play a role in helping people live their best life. And from my experience living out these principles, um, pretty diligently, very intentionally for the last 10 years. I think there's an element of this that is what people are missing. They're focusing too much on how they can get what they need to get through the day out of life. And they're not focusing enough on how they can show up and give and help somebody else. And just that one little switch will change everything.
it it's so true, and the point that you made is that you live it intentionally every day for the last 10 years. You're living it, and you're not doing it just because, okay, it's a book for a business to grow your business. No, it's not. It's actually a lifestyle. Just like you said, this is life. Every single little secret that you think that you don't know, you actually could find it in this little book. And then you can go take it a step further, and then you could take it another step further, and then you could take it another step further. And then, John David Mann and Anna took it the next level
Fantastic.
for the Go Giver marriage.
Yeah, it's great.
And I know they're working on the one for children as well. So like this is your handbook to life right there.
You tell me why it's gotten so many different versions now, and it's sold in 31 languages. Like it's not, and the crazy thing about it, in my opinion, is it's a parable. It takes you 2 hours to read.
Yep.
It's not like it's this really heavy read. It's it's pretty easy to read, and yet you walk away just like, I don't know. At least for me, it was like a slap in the face. Like I've been trying to figure out. I had been trying to look for a way to articulate basically what the message of the book is, but in my own words. And I was struggling to kind of really put my finger on what is it about the way I want to show up in the world, that is causing this positive response. And then I read this book, and I'm like, oh my god, um, this is it exactly. Like this is, I'm going to read it again, and then I just kept reading it. I've probably read it 40 times.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope everybody reads it if they haven't already. I hope they're more intentional about living out the principles that are in the book. And I would be really surprised if they didn't find some really concrete, tangible benefits from doing so.
Absolutely. So true, because this impacts not just your business, it impacts your life, not just your livelihood, it does impact your life in general. Like I know it grew, like my whole entire family read this book,
Hmm.
and we all became closer just through reading it. It's like what Bob says, like the Stoics say, like it's not a secret. It's not something new. It's not something that John and I discovered. It's what the Stoics say.
Right?
And we just put it in a simple term for people to understand and read in 2 to 3 hours, or actually listen to, because you can get it on Audible too.
Sure.
It's literally a 3-hour ride, and Jeff, I know Jeff is in Texas, so wherever he goes is like 2 to 3 hours. So you could like listen to it in a car ride.
Yeah. When it literally is like get up on a Sunday morning and pour a hot cup of coffee, and you can read the whole thing in just a
Yep.
single sitting. Um, it's awesome. I give it out everywhere. I
Mhm.
Next Thursday, I'm actually where my kids have aftercare at school. So when they get out of school, they stay at school. It's called Wolfpack, and I can pick them up until 6:30. The lady that does Wolfpack is a teacher, and we were talking about the principles in this book. So I gave her a copy of the book to read, and she's now finished it, and she sent me some thoughts in an email, and she wants to talk about how these principles apply to her life as a teacher. And I'm like, man, this is so much fun. Like it really. I mean, I talk about it. I really do need a T-shirt. Like I think we need to go ahead and make sure that that is the outcome of you and I getting together here on
Yeah,
this.
we're gonna get a T-shirt. That's it. Kathy, you hear that? We need a T-shirt.
I would wear it everywhere, literally, and it would create such great conversation. And I could see my whole closet just being
Go,
what shirt is it? There's all the same T-shirts, right? Charcoal gray, white letters. You know, there's just a whole closet. Um, but anyway, yeah, I absolutely love it. I feel blessed to obviously have found the book, but then to kind of go on from there and to get to know Bob and Kathy personally, and to go on to become a certified speaker around the principles of this book, which allowed me to dig even deeper into some of this stuff. And it's become my life's mission to help people discover and hopefully try to better understand why these principles work and how they work. And man, RG, I don't. And my tail's wagging all the time. I don't. Life is just good.
That's
Oh,
amazing.
oh, I hear that.
That is so nice to hear.
Hang on one second.
Jeff says,
Uh,
"Oh, I hear the train."
yeah,
Jeff says,
just work
"Golf
downtown.
shirts, golf shirts, and golf hats too."
Yes, yes, Jeff. Let's do it.
So you mentioned golf, Jeff. I got to show this off now. We got these at EXP shareholders. These golf balls, and on the bottom of it, it does say EXP. So,
Yes,
like, these are amazing ideas, and this is so. We are also part of the Go Giver Success Alliance, and this is what connected, Brian Schilling and Brian Weiss and Jeff West, Lisa Wilbur. Jeff West and Lisa Wilbur collaborated and made this book that won an Axiom Award. called the lady with the blue hair. And the power of the community and the people who collaborate with each other. It's just amazing how powerful of something can become out of it because of the value that we're providing to others. And that's the focus, the main focal point of the book is like the first law is the law of value. How are we giving value to others? And, just to be clear, like what Bob says, you're not a doormat. So you want to make sure that okay, where you're giving, but you're also not a doormat. And you're not just saying, okay, here's everything, and you're not going to receive anything. That's the fifth law is receiving. It's like breathing air. If we have to breathe our oxygen in, we got to breathe it right back out.
Yeah, giving and receiving are two sides of the very same coin. You can't.
Mhm.
Every act of giving is also an act of receiving. The person on the other side receives. And so if you believe in these principles, then you're going to give, somebody's going to receive, but then they're going to reciprocate. They're going to want to give back. They want you to be a part of their world. And so you have to be willing to receive. You've got to keep that flow alive, right? And so then you become a part of a world where we're all trying to. It's funny, he says, Bob describes it as we're not living 50-50. We're trying to get equal share. We're all living 100.
Yes.
I am 100% focused on adding value to my community, and so are the people in that community with me. And so our tidewater, if you will, as a group of people raises because we're all serving each other. It's really pretty fantastic.
It is. It is. I mean, just to see the things that have the products and services and friendships that came out of just this community is absolutely amazing. And then to see what the faces of is doing to communities is just so beautiful. And here's Jeff. He did put the link up as well. Thank you, Jeff. Thefacesof.com. And you can reach out to Brian through here, the Faces of as well. And you can learn about him through the Faces of. You can also learn about Brian through the Faces of the Go Giver community because he was featured. he's a Go Giver.
Yes, I'm proudly displayed as one of the individuals that are a part of this community. And if people are watching this and they read the book or they've read the book, I would highly encourage them to go check out the Success Alliance and be a part of the weekly Zoom meetings. And I mean, it's just a collection of all different types of individuals from all over the world that want to dig deeper into these principles. And what you end up having is a Zoom room full of people that are interested in trying to figure out how we can help one another. It becomes a pretty powerful place to be. And it's not for realtors, right? I think realtors are a natural, a really good natural example of living out the Go-Giver life because they're a resource for their community.
Yeah.
But it's all walks of life that are a part of the Success Alliance.
Yeah.
And I would encourage you as an individual, if you're watching and listening to this right now, not to filter out and give yourself reasons why you shouldn't go check it out because maybe you're not in sales. These are life principles, and life is more rewarding when you're surrounded by high quality people that care about you as part of your life. And that's one of the most enriching things that I've experienced about being in the community. Everybody's instantly open to trying to figure out how we can add value to each other, and it's pretty remarkable.
It absolutely is. And that's what I wanted to mention. I'm so happy that you did mention it. So this cup right here, and it's kind of like that t-shirt. It's the t-shirt idea in a cup because we all have coffee on Wednesday or whatever drink you want to have with Bob Berg on a Wednesday and a Tuesday right now. Like if you're watching this video it's March 24th, so 2023. Dates could change, But for now, for the last two and a half years, every Tuesday and Wednesday, you get on a phone call at Rachel's Famous Coffee with Bob Berg and Kathy Tajanella and so many other go-givers, such as like Brian Schilling over here who's watching. Thank you, Brian. And Jeff West, Elisa Wilbur, and so
it's
many.
not a call. You said call, but it's Zoom, right? We all hop on Zoom. We all see each other. We all get to know each other. It's I have new friends, literally. Like
absolutely.
Each other are. if the Go-Giver book was never written. But yeah, and Grant Muller, like you talked about, the guy's amazing. And
Yeah.
I feel very fortunate to have people like Grant in my life, and that's all a product of just picking up this book and
Yeah.
you know,
And getting on and taking that next step and actually taking action like you have, Brian. You've actually take you took action on intent, and then you applied it, and you moved forward with your partner Brad, and you built this community through the actions that you took through this book. And then you took it the next step where you joined the Go Giver Success Alliance. And that's when we met because so we go on these Zoom meetings every Wednesday. That's the time that I go, and we meet new people, and we've built so many relationships through people who are there. Anna, Peg, Anna. I could just name so many people that
yeah,
are there. And Grant is such a burst of energy. He's so wonderful. And we listen to Bob, we learn from Bob, and then we learn from each other as well through our, like you said earlier, our different industries because we're all in we're not in the same industry, but the
mm-mm.
principles are there. We follow the same principles, and that's what really connects us to help build each other up and mastermind on building whatever next we can do for people and build that value for them. And that's just beautiful.
It's a judgment-free zone too, right?
Mhm.
Like you don't have to worry. You just I don't know. The shortest distance between two people, Harjeet, is trust. And it's like because we've all read the book and we all aspire to be givers, right? There's just this instant trust. There's
Yeah.
Bob and everybody that's there. You're just instantly like, come on in. Let's talk about whatever you want to talk about. Let's work on whatever you're working on. And I don't know, it just is a really comfortable environment full of great people. And I guess this is my whole point. We can create whatever life we want to have for ourselves.
Mhm.
Um, but it starts with us. It starts with the way we think, the way we show up, right? That's the first step. But then we can be intentional and build a fantastic life through our behavior. And you don't have to have millions of dollars to do this. Like
Mhm.
just go find a way to help other people. And I don't know, it'll just change the way you see and the way you show up. And it'll change everything about the world you occupy. And um, yeah, I don't know. I just think it's still working through exactly how I want to say that. But it means a lot to me. I think it would impact a lot of people in a positive way that are really struggling right now because we've got so much tension in the world. And some of that would go away if we just started living differently and thinking differently. And I realize it's a lot easier to say than it is to do, but I say these things with passion because I've done it. Like I've made these changes and it's been unbelievable for me.
And you've lived it, and you're living it. And
Every
it's
day.
just like, and you said it perfectly. And Jeff, thank you so much for quoting this, Jeff. So I'm trying to keep up. The shortest distance between two people is trust. And that's actually what this is like. You hit it on the nail, Brian. The second we get into that room, there's instant trust.
Yes.
And that's the main thing. It's like, okay, now we trust each other. There's this We know this is a safe place, and we come with that mindset of abundance. And then with that, there's no stopping. Like it's like we were on the call on Wednesday, and Lisa, Dawn, and Brian. There were the three of us were on the phone on the Zoom call because we get to meet with three
The
or
break.
four people together through the breakouts,
Yeah.
and that's what we came to conclusion. We were saying that it was in my head that we we can mastermind with each other and build this, and it all starts with trusting each other. And it's when it gets to that, it's not about how am I going to do this or is this possible or can I do it? It's not about can I do it? It's who's gonna stop me? Like, who's gonna stop me from doing this? Who's gonna stop us from doing this? There's no one, because the only person that can stop us from doing anything is ourselves.
Yep.
And you said it so beautifully. Thank you so much for giving that message to us. And I want to say it again. The shortest distance between two people is trust.
It is life's currency today, Harjeet. I really believe that. Like well, there's so much distrust at every
Mhm.
level of life today that I think there's a really strong appetite in people to find people they think they can trust, they feel they can trust. We want to have trustworthy people as part of our world.
Yeah.
And again, if you want to find them, go be that person. Like just go out, go, show up in the world you occupy in that way, and you'll find them. But that's what, yeah, 100%. That's what it's like as part of the Success Alliance, because the basic premise is they've all read, they've all read the book. They're all trying to figure out how to add value to the worlds they occupy, and so it's just sort of, I don't know. It's really pretty magical, and it's pretty incredible what we have the capacity to do as humans. If, like you said, we just get out of our own way and we just go behave in a way that is sustainable and it adds value. And um, this is, I could talk about this for 3 or 4 days.
We can talk about it forever, I think. But I love that. And it's, you spoke about it earlier, and I wanted to touch on that. And again, thank you so much for your time. And I guess we'll end it with this, and this question, Brian, is, and you mentioned it a few times, happiness. And I love Bob's definition of happiness, and I may not be saying it word for word, and I hope I get the concept and principle right, Bob.
Yeah.
Happiness is when someone, it's obviously, happiness is in the beholder's eyes. So what somebody thinks of happiness is, this is what happiness is to that person. So my definition of happiness will be different from yours, Brian, and different from Jeff's and Bob's. And who, whoever's watching out there, your happiness is your happiness. You own that.
Mm-hmm.
And because you own that, what does that mean? It's when you live congruent with your values, that is when you can become happy. That is when you can untap or unlock that key to happiness.
Yeah,
Is,
you're not trying to be somebody different than who you really are to fit in, right? Like
yep.
you're showing up as your truest self, modeling who you want to be and what's important to you.
Mhm.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate that as a definition of happiness for sure.
Yeah.
I think that contributes to arriving at being happy, right? Is how I would say
Yeah.
it, right?
Hmm.
Like what does happiness even mean? Like at the end of the day, we want to feel good. How do we create a way, a lifestyle, an approach that contributes most to us feeling happy? And I would, yeah, I would completely agree with Bob's assessment in that way. We are who we are, and that person is well received because you've got a quality value system and people appreciate it, and they appreciate that in you, and so there's a positive exchange in energy. Like I really do believe people exchange energy, whether you
Hmm.
realize it or not. Um, if I go out and I'm running pretty high because I've had a couple conversations around the faces of, and I'm feeling great, and I'm out in the community and I can feel like I'm a little amped up. People respond differently.
Yeah.
Um, and so, how do we create that positive energy? And like you said, one of those definitions is to live in a way that's congruent with who you really are, like what your true values are, and to be sincere about it. It's pretty awesome stuff too.
That's good.
Gratitude, I think, plays a role in that. Our friend Christine Newell wrote the book on
Mhm.
gratitude. Another really important element of it, right, is having some perspective and finding a way to appreciate and be grateful for the things you have, and not spend time trying to figure out how to go get something that somebody else, you perceive somebody else to have.
I
Um,
love that.
but there, yeah, another topic I could talk about for a long time.
That is great. That's amazing, Brian. Thank you so much for that. And can you just repeat what you said, because I think the world needs to hear that message.
What's the one I just talking about? Gratitude.
Gratitude and appreciating. So Brian, Brian's like, what did I just drop?
No,
So
no, no. It's just not doesn't feel epiphanical to me. Like this is just real life stuff, and I've spent a lot of time really trying to figure out. It all starts with us, right? Everything
yep.
that we see, the whole world we're in, no matter if we care to agree or believe it or not, it's a product of who we are.
Mhm.
It's up to us to create and occupy the world we think we want to live in. It's nobody else's responsibility to do that for us, right? And so I have spent a long time trying to understand and figure out what can I do to show up in the world I'm in my best possible way. Harjeet, I believe we have a moral responsibility to try to create the best version of ourselves. It adds value to the world. It adds value to us. I just believe we should pursue our potential, whatever that means, and that can be defined differently by different people. We should pursue a desire to have a good foundation, right? To build a value system that would serve me well as a human and also will provide value to others, and then to go be that person on a regular basis. And if you'll do that through the principles in the book, right? And then if you start appreciating some of the principles in the book, I'm telling you, it won't be as hard. That's the easiest way I'll say it. Um, but yeah, so it starts in a lot of ways. It starts with gratitude, right? Like, do you have the capacity to get out of bed every day and truly feel grateful for what you have, regardless of your circumstances, and not in that same moment look out at social media or wherever you're looking and identify things you want to have that are being occupied by somebody else, right? Whether it's
Mhm.
they perceive to be happy or they've got a great marriage or whatever. It's not a good use of time, energy, and resources to want for things when honestly you don't even know if it is what you see it to be.
Yeah.
Um, and so we've got to figure out how to ground ourselves from a position of gratitude and realize that we're all a work in progress. We're always building and trying to create and grow and manifest different things. And so let's start with appreciation for who we are. We got here. We're very lucky. We're alive. We got a shot at this. And so these principles, these ideas that we're talking about, and obviously getting a little bit away from the book, and they're so important to me, Harji. Like in my estimation, this is real life. This is how we find ourselves more often in that happy state.
It
Um,
is. And you're not deterring away from the book because it is also in the Go Giver Leader. It's also in the Go Giver Influencer. Um, the happiness starts with the Go Giver sells more. That's one of the first things Bob talks about is what is happiness. And let's bring this up together.
with my camera, but
um, but it starts with gratitude within us, and you greatly, I love how you pointed this out, and this is such an important message. So many people do need to hear this. Stop looking at the highlights of other people. Look in the mirror and say, hey, you got this. You're
yes,
here. And that's all you need to know. Life will take you where it needs to take you from there.
yes, just yeah, be honest with yourself. See things for what they are. You have a lot to appreciate, no matter who you are, honestly, and
Yes.
find a way to appreciate, and it'll start changing the way you think about things and the way you see things, and yeah, it just kind of evolves.
It
I
does.
love that this this show that you've put together has provided us an opportunity to spend some more time together, Harjeet. I appreciate
Oh,
you.
thank you. I know it's so amazing, isn't it? It's always great talking to you. And I want to thank you again, Brian, for joining Jaw Time with Realtor Jeet. And I am like showing off the mug that we use when I drink it all the time, out of it all the time. And it's just the importance of friendships that we can cultivate and have just because of this opportunity. And I'm super grateful for that, and I'm super grateful that we got to meet in a one-on-one session, and then we got to talk on breakouts and other opportunities. It's just always so much fun talking to you and seeing the love that you pour into the principles and into the faces of and just the value that you provide to everybody that comes, in your universe. So thank you so much for that, Brian.
I appreciate you. It's always a treat to chat. I love talking about these principles. They're very,
Mhm.
very important to me. And yeah, I appreciate you allowing me the opportunity to talk out loud for 45 minutes. It's been fun.
My pleasure. Everyone, have a wonderful day. And remember, love yourself and look at yourself. Don't look at the highlights. Have a
That's right.
great day, everyone.